Fillies and gentle colts, welcome to another edition of Pony Fanfiction. Why are you laughing?
Nothing, just
Anyways, let's read this story. This story is called Luna versus the Microwave. You can read along if you want. Here we go. And my friend John is here to witness this story, and he's laughing his ass off at something random. Anyways, Princess Luna, formerly Nightmare Moon, scrawled intentionally at the contraption before her. It sat there, made of pure plastic and metal, and gleaming in a private kitchen Celestia had granted her. Dealing with the public she had never been one of Luna's strengths, and being trapped in the moon for thousands of years hadn't helped this at all. Not wishing to feel useless, Luna had dived headfirst into study, trying to assimilate the major changes in Equestria and the rest of the world before moving on to the smaller or more numerous changes. The legal aspects of this society she understood quite well. The basics of policy, law, and governments had been practically invented by her. Stars, planets, moons. They moved according to natural laws, and it was though these laws Luna had derived the concepts of governments striving for balance between the strong and the weak, the large and the little. Celestia, however, was always the better of the two. That how did she put it? Making the sale, she quoted, a smile coming to her face. Yes, that was it. Making the sale. It was Celestia who convinced ponies in the need of balance in the distribution of power, and Luna who put it together behind the scenes. Balance. The rise of the aristocracy, I think I pronounced that wrong, sorry, had been natural, but it was offset by executive, legislative, and legal powers. While those of landed gentry descent might be stuffy elites, their arrogance was due mostly by tradition and not by actual authority. Celestia, while a great authority in her own right by virtue of being, in all senses of a word, a goddess, she had strove to maintain the balance. The upset of it too far in either way was the difference between despotism and anarchy, and given her own experience with the corrupting influence of power. Wow, what are all these big-ass words? No. She could look at it objectively now. She did not feel guilt. Her older sister had told her Luna logically knew it wouldn't help. Still, it took a lot more than she thought to move on. Given her own experience with the corrupting influence of power, Luna found herself happy that Celestia had paid heed to her warnings and her thoughts, that she had made a difference besides. Well, being Nightmare Moon, she closed her eyes, sighed, and moved past that thought to an immediate problem.
how about now?
She can handle the law. She can handle politics and theory. She could handle economics, mathematics, the sciences. Therefore, it was only logical she could figure out this. Your Majesty? Luna looked over at one of the servant fillies, her white coat and yellow mane adding more cheer to the interior and brightly decorated kitchen. Luna coughed. Yes? Do you require any assistance? She asked. Luna shook her head and returned her eyes to the contraption on the counter. No, thank you, she said quietly. Luna scowled at her reflection in the microwave surface. The servant's filly coughed again. Luna looked back at her. The filly smiled gently. If you like, I can... No, I'm fine, really, Luna said, her tone a bit harsher than she had intended. The filly frowned and Luna felt guilt. I'm sorry, I just prefer to figure this out on my own, Luna said. The filly nodded. As you wish, Your Majesty. If you need anything, though, don't hesitate to call, she said. She turned and trotted off, leaving Luna alone once again. The Moon Princess looked back at the microwave and resumed her scowl. Her horn lit up with magical energies, and she probed the device carefully. It had some sort of apparatus inside it, it seemed. Phased, perhaps? Yes, phased. It emitted radio waves. She had read up on them, seen the technology for herself, and she understood the theory. Of course, to heat up the food, she reasoned. Excite the water molecules, no different from a heating spell. She can use a heating spell right now if she wished, a part of her pointed out. Luna snorted and continued her examination. She lifted the hoop up and tapped it once. Feels solid? She murmured to herself. She tapped it again. Something gave the device popped open loudly. Luna squeaked and jumped back, her flanks slamming into the table behind her as her wings puffed out in fright. Slowly, she opened her eyes and stared at the microwave. Stupid, she muttered to herself. It was just a door. She trotted back up to the counter, folding her wings away. She peered inside the pristine white interior of the microwave carefully and sniffed. Okay, this is probably where the food goes. She reasoned aloud. Feeling much calmer, she then turned and trotted up to one of the cabinets. Opening it up with her telekinesis, she scanned it through various packages. Before she found one in particular, she lifted it and brought it down and examined it. Popcorn, she read aloud. Right, Celestia had mentioned it was good to eat. She nodded and trotted back, placing the container in the microwave. Carefully, she shut the door, and then looked at what she had reason to be the interface. She hummed and studied it. How long would this take to heat up? She thought out loud. Luna tapped her hooves on the floor before she smiled. Of course. Ah, excuse me, she called out. Yes, Princess Luna? The same blonde filly answered, poking her head into the kitchen with a smile. Luna felt a little annoyed with the servant filly had been hanging around, but let it go easily enough. Now she felt like she was somewhere familiar. I need an abacus, she said. Please tell me where I can find one. The filly stared, her smile grown confused. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but what is an abacus? She asked. Luna scowled, but softened her expression when the filly cringed. Don't take it out on the servants. It's not your fault you've been locked in the moon for 1,000 years, she thought to herself. It's a mathematics tool, she explained. It has beads on the wires in a wooden frame. The filly still looked blank. Luna was about to call for another servant, perhaps one with some idea what she's talking about, before the blonde's eyes lit up in understanding. Ooh, like a calculator. Luna slowly nodded. Yes, whatever that was. Wouldn't you prefer to use a calculator? The filly asked. Luna restrained a sigh. No. All right, the filly replied. She galloped off. Luna waited, but felt herself growing impatient. I could just conjure one, she thought. It wouldn't be that hard. Still, if it got the filly to stop hanging around for a little while, it was worth it. She had the sneaking suspicion Celestia had the servants paying extra attention to her. It wasn't as though that she was going to go on a rampage. It was so annoying how overprotective she could be. It was 20 minutes before the filly returned, bearing an very old dusty abacus in her mouth. Luna smiled and took hold of it with her telekinesis. You wouldn't believe where I found it. The curator of the Palace Museum said it was one of they used for display purposes, the filly explained. Luna nodded, setting the device down on the table. The old motions came to her hooves. She swiftly calculated the weight of the popcorn container, the energy output of the microwave, and a few other relevant variables. Her smile grew a bit as she felt, at last, a familiar territory. There we go, she said after checking her solutions twice. She turned to the microwave and pressed several buttons. 27 minutes at full power. All right. She hit the start button. I know this is going to be bad. She hit the start button, and her smile grew as a pleasant humming the machine made. She looked over the filly, who looked uncertain. Is something wrong? Well, 27 minutes seems a bit long, don't you think? She asked. Luna shook her head. No, I checked. It's the right amount of time, she said. The filly nodded slowly. If you say so, Your Majesty. So what do I call you? Luna asked, the tension dropping off considerably now she's figured out how to work the stupid thing. The filly smiled. Sundance, Your Majesty. Luna smiled and nodded. Well, why wouldn't you just tell me a little about yourself? She asked, politely, at the table. Sundance shyly, but gradually, with a greater enthusiasm, related her backstory. Luna nodded in the appropriate parts, but really, she was feeling very pleased that she had gotten someone to speak to her almost normally. In fact, it was just about the best feeling she had ever. Pop, 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 pop. Luna cried, as the wave of telekinesis left her before she could think. It smashed the microwave, and a cloud of billowing smoke emerged from the burning interior. Oh no 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 no! Oh no oh no oh no oh no oh no! Sundance chanted. Quick, extinguish it before! A loud alarm went off, and water began spraying from the ceilings, dousing the entire kitchen. In it, as the smoke continued to fill the room, Sundance coughed and got down as low to the floor as possible. She was surprised to see Princess Luna underneath the table, shaking. Your Majesty? Princess Luna, are you alright? No. Luna sighed miserably, clutching at her now soaking wet abacus. No, I'm not. Luna, really? Celestia said as she magically directed the towel to scrub Luna's hair more forcefully. It's not that bad. Luna knew she was sulking, but frankly she didn't care. She held the sad little abacus in her
Yep.
hooves as her sister fussed over her in the front of her fireplace. She looked down at it and sighed. The fire department was called. A minor overreaction, Celestia soothed. But there were instructions on the container I ignored. Mistakes happen, the older sister said. Luna huffed. You laughed. I laughed because I saw that my darling little sister was safe. Celestia said, removing the towel to affectionately nuzzle Luna's mane. She smiled. And you look rather cute hiding under the table. Luna scowled. Celestia laughed. The sound like ringing bells. Luna, you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. It's been 1,000 years. You can't expect to catch up right away. These things happen. She laughed again. You should have seen how badly I handled the first aircraft. I asked why the wings didn't move and why there weren't any feathers. Luna tried hard not to laugh and succeeded in keeping it down to a snicker. She looked up at her sister, who smiled more gently. At the very least, you acted appropriately when Sundance tried to take responsibility for it. It wasn't her fault, Luna said stubbornly. Celestia nodded. So now she knows she can trust you not to blame for your mistakes. I say that's the first steps towards friendship. She glanced at Twilight Sparkle's latest letter, and she smiled in fond remembrance of her faithful student. I think I might get to send a letter this time, so... She kissed the top of Luna's head. Thank you, little sister. Luna blushed and nodded back. It was nothing. Now, you have a knight to look after, Celestia said, gently bumping her head against Luna's. Go on. All right, Luna said. She rose and looked over the abacus. It was worn and worse for the wear. No thanks to her, but still. May I hold to this, sister? For a little while, at least, Luna asked. Celestia smiled and nodded. Of course, dear. I don't think it's outlived its usefulness, do you? Luna flushed and her smile grew. No, sister, I don't.